The U.S. and Israeli war in Iraq now growing more perilous, with thousands of deaths being reported, including would-be successors to the Iranian regime. What the State Department is urging Americans do to get home safely, and why Secretary of State Marco Rubio is warning the fighting will only get worse.
Local leaders looking to combat voter fraud are now touting a voter ID measure that will likely end up on the November ballot.
Voter ID is something it's a nonpartisan issue. We need to have integrity in our elections.
This voter ID requirement would really just add another barrier that will make it harder for people to vote.
Who opponents of the measure say it will drastically impact if it is approved, and why they argue it could stop citizens from voting.
And our wind speeds are picking up for us once again. Those will happen later on in the morning. Coming up, we'll track those wind speeds for you and let you know just how gusty it's going to get.
You're watching Fox 26, and now, great day.
Good morning. We begin this 5 o'clock hour with a live look at downtown Fresno. Today's high in Fresno expected to reach 69 degrees. It looks like a little bit of haze. And I don't know if either of you ran into any pockets of fog this morning. I randomly hit some pockets of fog.
Beautiful.
So it's not out of the realm of possibilities.
Beautiful view for me this morning.
Yeah. No, well, I'll talk about that here in a little while. We got some areas that are seeing some dense fog this morning.
Yesterday, what was it, 99 and 152 area?
Yeah, like Madera. It's going to be the same area that we're seeing that today, and a little haze here and there for the rest of us here. But nothing crazy with that.
I want to emphasize nothing crazy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, speaking of, I'm Justin, that's Liz, and that's Carl. And yeah, we're happy that you're with us this morning. So, day planner?
Windy Wednesday?
Yeah, Windy's Day. Winds Day. Yeah, that's it. The winds of change are happening. Yeah, spring is right around the corner, right? So let's get a look at that and see what's going on out there right now. Wind speeds aren't really doing much yet. They're just 5 miles an hour right now, and it's a little cloudy out there for us, 51 currently. Dew point's at 47. Those wind speeds are going to pick up, though, in the morning hours here. But in about a few hours from now, we'll see wind speeds getting up to about 10 to 15 miles an hour there at 11 o'clock. It'll be about 11 miles an hour, getting up to 14 by the end of the day. But we'll see some gusts getting to 20 or 25 miles an hour, too. 60 degrees for us at 10, 65 at noon, 67 at 5. And the skies will clear out by the end of our day as well. All right, coming up next, we'll talk a little bit more about the wind and see why that's happening. And we'll also track a little of that fog and see where some of you can expect it next.
Explosions continue hitting Iran's capital of Tehran today as the war with the U.S. and Israel goes into its 5th day. New numbers from Iranian government agencies say at least 1,045 people have been killed, including some President Trump said could have been possible future leaders of the country. The president has suggested the military operation could last a month or longer. He says the U.S. will take whatever time is needed. A former military leader says Iran is probably responding with its full force.
Where we stand right now, I think, is the very beginning of something that the president's administration did not anticipate, that Iran gets a vote and they get to fight back. They are going to do their very best.
And so I hope to work.
U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio says the attacks against Iran will get more intense in the coming days. Meantime, we're now learning the names of 4 of the 6 U.S. soldiers killed in an Iranian drone strike in Kuwait. The Pentagon says the 4 Army Reserve soldiers were killed Sunday when a drone hit a command center at a port. Those soldiers have been identified as 39-year-old Sergeant First Class Nicole Armour of White Bear Lake, Minnesota, 42-year-old Sergeant First Class Noah Tegens of Bellevue, Nebraska, 20-year-old Sergeant Declan Cody of West Des Moines, Iowa, and 35-year-old Captain Cody Cork of Winter Haven, Florida. All 4 were assigned to an Army Reserve unit based in Des Moines. Today, the Senate will take a procedural vote regarding President Trump's decision to start the war with Iran. This legislation is known as a War Powers Resolution. It gives lawmakers the chance to make congressional approval mandatory before additional attacks can be carried out. Members of the House will also be talking about the matter ahead of a similar vote later this week. It's still not clear, however, if there's enough support for initial passage, let alone the 2/3 majority needed in both chambers to override a presidential veto. The president has said the strikes were necessary to stop Iran from developing a nuclear weapon, among other objectives. That's despite him saying previously that Iran's nuclear sites were destroyed in strikes last June. Meantime, flight disruptions across the Middle East continue. Since strikes started over the weekend, much of the airspace throughout the region has been closed. This has forced airlines to either cancel or take longer routes. Experts say travelers need to monitor safety guidance, updates, and travel advisories from government officials, as well as airlines and airports. Secretary of State Rubio says the government is working on getting Americans out of the Middle East, but they need to reach out to say they are there.
We need to have contact information for Americans that need assistance. They have to register with us because as these options begin to open up, and as they open up, we have to be able to call you, we have to be able to reach you, we have to be able to know where you're staying.
Rubio says 9,000 Americans have been able to leave so far, and 1,500 are still requesting assistance. He says that the government is working with airlines to send bigger planes to pick people up. Americans in the Middle East who need assistance need to enroll at the step.state.gov and call 1-202-501-4444. Now, here in the Valley, Naval Air Station Lemoore has now canceled this year's air show. It's citing increased security measures and evolving force protection requirements. In a statement, its commanding officer says that canceling the event was an incredibly tough call. He went on to say the air show was one of the most meaningful ways that the station connects with the community. And, quote, while we are disappointed, the safety and security of our sailors, their families, and our guests must remain our top priority. The NAS Lemoore Air Show had been scheduled for March 21st and 22nd. We're going to continue covering the ongoing war and get more reaction from lawmakers in this week's edition of Connect to Congress. In the next hour of Great Day, we'll speak with Democratic Representative for the state's 21st Congressional District, Jim Costa. And in our 7 o'clock hour, we'll speak with Republican Representative for the 20th Congressional District, Vince Fong. We'll also speak with both representatives about a farm bill initiative in Congress with the potential to help families right here in the central San Joaquin Valley.
It's 5:06 now, and I want to start off with the fog tracker here because, yeah, we talked a little bit about it. Some of us saw some on the way in, and right now Madera's got about a quarter-mile visibility there. Yeah, it's really just Madera County right now, seeing some maybe a little haze going on down there in Visalia, 4 miles visibility there. Everybody else is doing okay right now, but this ought to ease up, of course, as the morning goes on here. Otherwise, wind is going to be our story today. Right now, it's fairly calm in most areas here. We're at 5 miles an hour in Fresno and Lemoore. Porterville's at 6. But those wind speeds are going to pick up as the day goes on. And it's because we got a low pressure system that's passing over us right now, coming from the Gulf of Alaska there. And you kind of see the cloud pattern there. So it's going to be a little cloudy out there today, in addition to the winds picking up. But that's going to clear out as the day goes on. And this cloud cover kind of whips out of here. There is some stagnant high pressure and some minor troughing here that is kind of creating a little bit of what we're seeing with the fog this morning. But that's about it. Otherwise, the story today is the wind. And here are the peak wind speeds for us today. We'll see wind gusts getting to about 20 miles an hour in Merced and Los Banos today. Madera could see 25-mile-an-hour wind gusts there. 20 in Fresno and Lemoore. And then just 10 to 15 miles an hour in the South Valley there. Get up to about 20 miles an hour there in Sequoia National Park today, and then about 15-mile-an-hour wind gusts up in the Sierra Nevada mountains there, Mariposa, Oakhurst, and Shaver Lake there. So a little gusty out there for you today. And those wind speeds likely continuing to tomorrow. While we're at 10 to 20-mile-an-hour winds today, it'll still be about 10 to 15 tomorrow. But we'll have plenty of sunshine tomorrow and Friday. 69 is our high today, 68 tomorrow, 69 on Friday, and then we're going to be, looks like 40s, maybe 39 there tomorrow night there. For your overnight lows. Up next, we're going to get a look at the highs and lows for today across the rest of the San Joaquin Valley.
A California ballot measure requiring proof of ID and citizenship is one step closer to appearing on the November ballot after supporters collected more than 1 million signatures. The new measure would require in-person voters to bring a government-issued photo ID with them, along with proof of citizenship. That could be a driver's license, a passport, or military ID, a birth certificate, a certificate of naturalization, or a certificate of citizenship. For mail-in ballots, voters will be required to write the last 4 digits of a government ID on their mail-in ballot envelope.
If this adds just an additional layer that makes people feel comfortable that it's one vote, it's one person, and it's one voice, it's just something that I believe we should take the necessary step for.
Anybody in Fresno County can go to the registrar's office and get their birth certificate, just like if you're signing up your child for school.
There are concerns this measure targets minorities and low-income communities that may not have the proper documentation available. Opponents of the measure also fear it could discourage people from voting.
Anyone who's ever tried to get your birth certificate, I mean, you have to take a day off of work. You have to be able to go get transportation if you don't have transportation. If you get married and your name has changed and you didn't have time to be able to go, that's going to impact you at the ballot box if this measure passes. And so it is really all of us that would be impacted.
According to the Center of Democracy and Civic Engagement, studies from 2020 showed in states with strict photo ID laws, over 3 million voting-age U.S. citizens did not have a current driver's license. Over 1 million did not have a proper government-issued photo ID. And members of underrepresented racial and ethnic groups were less likely to have a current driver's license or other government-issued photo ID. As supporters say, this measure is meant to fight voter fraud. So we wanted to research just how many recorded cases there are of voter fraud in California. Here's what we found. A conservative group called the Heritage Foundation recorded 71 cases of voter fraud from 1993 to this year. The California Research Bureau released a report last year looking at 14 counties where grand juries issued reports on the risk of voter fraud. It's focused on the 2020 to 2024 elections. All 14 were found to have either upheld the highest standard for election integrity or are well trained to handle elections securely and efficiently. Outside of California, according to the National Conference of State Legislatures, 36 states have voter ID regulations, and the remaining 14 states plus Washington, D.C. use other methods to verify the identity of voters. The signatures for the ballot measure will now be going to the Secretary of State's office for verification. A convicted sex offender's bid for Fresno City Council continues to draw backlash from local leaders. How one assembly member is now working to ensure his dream does not become a reality. But first, a live look. It's the Santa Monica Pier. It is 5:11 and 57 degrees right now. You can find new headlines and the weather forecast on your screen all morning long, even through the commercial break.
Hi, I'm Monty Torres with Fox 26 News on YouTube. Thank you for checking out our YouTube channel, where we have loads of great content for you to choose from. And while you're here, why not click on the subscribe button right here? That way you can stay in touch with all the latest breaking news, everything news related within the Central Valley. And thank you for watching.